How y'all doing? I'm Sean Futrell Welding. Those of you that haven't seen any of my videos, I do some welding videos, I do some working on go-kart videos, a little bit of playing on mini bikes. Most of my stuff's welding videos. Got a build video on my rig bed. I'm not taking my rig today because I've got all the tools out of it. I'm getting ready to pull the bed off and bed line it and put it back on so it'll be treated, be coated, and last me a whole lot longer before it starts rusting and stuff. But today I'm going to a local guy's house. He called me. I was out of town on a job. He called me, said, Sean, I hear you're the guy to call. I went through the ditch, somehow twisted the frame on my lawnmower and ripped it in 2 spots. He's got the rear axle off of it. He's got a bunch of rips in the frame. He sent me some pictures. I got a pretty good idea of what I'm going to do and how I'm going to fix it. But this is one of those jobs that some of the bigger welding shops will turn down because it's so small and they think it's not worth it to the customer to charge them a lot. Well, I work for myself. I don't have a lot of overhead. I'm 100% mobile. I'll come to this man. He's got it in his garage. It's out of the weather. I can bring my 110 MIG welder and plug it in his garage and get it fixed up for him and charge him a lot less. And you got to take care of your local folks, because they're the ones that are going to say, hey, Jim Bob, this guy Sean Futrell did a great job for me on my lawnmower. You know, you should call him since you got that trailer that needs repaired, or you got that car dolly that's broken, or anything like that. I do a lot of work for local folks on lawnmower decks, trailer repair, trailer ramps, adding rails to trailers. Their expanded metal's popping up. They want to replace it. Stuff like that. It's a small job. It's not going to pay your rent or your mortgage, but it's going to put a little extra money in your pocket, and it's going to keep the bills paid, and it's going to keep that word of mouth that keeps your business going. When I first started my business, all I did, I bought a bunch of steel wheels from a guy that was junking them, and I built little fire pits out of steel wheels, and I sold them for $50 to $75 a piece. But it got my name out there enough and just stepped up and up to bigger and bigger customers. And now I work for multi-billion-dollar international companies, but I don't forget the little people. When I come home, I'm like, hey, buddy, you still need that lawnmower repaired? He's like, yep, when can you come over? Well, I don't normally work on Saturdays, but today's Saturday, and I'm working today because I like to keep my local folks happy, and I like to keep all my customers happy, but sometimes you got to work on Saturdays or Sundays every now and then if you really need to. It might be an emergency job or something. But you got to keep your customers happy, and you got to keep that word of mouth going, because word of mouth has got me more business than anything else. When we first started, I made flyers, and I went around to all these businesses and said, hey, if you get somebody that needs a frame repair, just give me a call and I can take care of it. You know, I'm certified welder, 100% mobile. And that got me a little bit of work, but word of mouth got me more than anything. If you're just starting out, make a Facebook account. Make a Facebook business page, put pictures of anything you've ever built with your $200 Harbor Freight welder, or with your $2,000 welder that you bought off of Craigslist. If you've got stuff you fabbed up, you got artwork, fire pits, anything like that, ladder racks, trailer ramps, anything like that, put pictures of it on your Facebook page, put it on your Instagram, and people will message you and say, hey man, I see you did a lawnmower deck 2 years ago. I see it on your Facebook. Can you repair mine? Yes sir, I can. What do you got? Can you send me some pictures? I can give you a rough estimate over the phone, and then I can come out and fix it on Tuesday or Saturday the 13th or whatever. But then you got to show up. When you tell them you're going to show up, you got to show up, and that lets them know that you're dependable. When you say you're going to be there, you're going to be there. I told the man I'm out of town. As soon as I get home, I'll let you know. I called him yesterday. I said, hey, I'm back in town. Can we work on it on Saturday? He said, yes sir, I'll be home all morning. I got to leave at noon, so I'm going to his house. All right, so we got the MIG welder loaded up. It's starting to rain a little bit, so I got some rubber pieces on top of it so it don't get wet. Guy lives about 20 minutes away, and he's, like I said before, he's got the lawnmower in his garage, so won't be too bad. We'll be out of the rain. But I wanted to show y'all something. Give me a second. When you're doing little repairs like this, you got to have little pieces of metal because you never know what you're going to need. I've seen pictures of the frame, but you never know what you're going to need. So I always carry little pieces, like a little piece of angle, a bunch of little pieces of flat bar, plate. I think that's left over from when I built my bed, but I don't throw any of this stuff away because it can be used. I do a lot of crack repairs, stuff like that, and you can use all that. You can grind a crack out, weld a crack. Sometimes the customer isn't satisfied with that, so you can plate it on top, or sometimes you just want to for a little extra security. So also wanted to say that when I worked for another local welding shop several years ago, the owner would tell people when they pulled into the shop that if their lawnmower wasn't green and yellow, that the deck was not worth repairing. Well, when you work for yourself, you don't turn down work. So it doesn't have to be a John Deere lawnmower deck. I've repaired some John Deere lawnmower decks, but we're not doing one today. I think it may be a Toro or a Husqvarna. I can't remember. We'll find out here shortly. But I don't turn down work because my local customers pass the word around that I do good work. So then when their friend calls and says, hey, who worked on your lawnmower deck? Or who repaired your lawnmower frame? They're gonna say, oh, Sean Futrell. He came over and did a great job for me. So word of mouth spreads the word of your business. Sorry about that. Trying to get the dogs in the house before we leave. Like I was saying, I don't turn down small welding jobs because word of mouth travels fast. And when people in our county call me, they say, oh, such and such told me that you did a great job for him, saying you're the best man for the job. So I take a lot of pride in that. It makes me feel good. It kind of gives me a little pat on the back every time somebody tells me that. I'm not the best welder in the world. I never claimed to be. But I've been welding off and on for 20 years, and I've been working for myself for 5.5 years. I'm trying to get into some of these videos, show y'all a little bit of stuff. Guys that are just starting out. Dude, I'm taking a Miller-Matic 141 with me. Cost about $1,200 when I got it new. It hadn't even been released yet because I had a friend that worked for Airgas at the time. My wife got it for me for Christmas. But I have made probably $20,000 off of that MIG welder, if not more. I built my entire bed with that MIG welder, running off of 110. So even if you got to get a Harbor Freight welder, I bought a $250 Lincoln flux core welder 20 years ago, and I probably made 10 grand off of that, building ladder racks, repairing lawnmowers, all kind of small stuff that I could do with it. And I did what I had to do to make extra money for my family at the time. Now I work for myself. I got the Trailblazer on the welding rig. I got the Miller-Matic in the shed that I do a little fab work with. Build trailer ramps, stuff like today. It's really easy to carry and just plug in somebody's garage and work on their stuff. So, but stay tuned and we'll get you soon enough. We'll be working on that lawnmower. All right, what we got is a Husqvarna riding mower, and we got a break right here on the frame where the axle bolts up. Broke it on the same spot on the other side. And we got a, where's that angle piece, Jim? Oh, you got it in hand. Thank you, sir. Got this piece of angle piece that broke right on this bolt hole. And it bolts right on the transmission right here. Up under here, we're gonna see if we can get all this fixed up so this man can finish cutting this grass. Stay tuned.
about 5 in the morning. He makes his lunch and then he gets going for a long day on the pipeline in the burning sun. He shows up and then he rolls out. He's got 12 to go and some pipe to weld out. So he cranks up the Lincoln and waits for it to idle down. He'd rather drink, he'd rather hunt, he'd rather go fishing or work on his truck. But it pays for all of that, so I tell you he will show up. This is the story of the Welding Man, burning down the pipeline and tying it in, burning rod after rod, and let me tell you, boy, it never ends. Well, the money is good, don't get it misunderstood, but there's things he'd rather do than drop his hood. So he burns them rods, and let me tell you, he's a hell of a hand. This is the story of the Welding Man. It's a hard life to live away from family and friends, driving job to job just to make his ends. And the next job he's on, he don't know where it is. His lady's always on the phone telling him to come home because he's always gone and she don't want to be alone. But that Welding Man, he's got to keep on keeping on. And then he rolls on. This is the story of the Welding Man, burning down the pipeline and tying it in, burning rod after rod, and let me tell you, boy, it never ends.
Alright, we're on the way home, and I forgot to do a little video, show you where everything was put back together. Basically, I grinded all the cracks, welded it top and bottom. Most of the surfaces I had to buff out smooth because it was bolting to something. If it wasn't, I didn't buff that part all the way smooth. Just the sides had to bolt to something, and everything went back together like it should. He's got to put the rear end back in his lawnmower, put everything back together. That wasn't part of my job. But like I said before, big companies pay my bills, and local folks take care of my habits, like buying mini bikes, go-karts, new guns and stuff. So I don't really charge a lot when I have local folks do this. It's a cash job, maybe $100, 150, something like that, depending on the job. But we got him all fixed up. He was very appreciative. And then when one of his friends says, "Hey, I got something broken, you know somebody can fix it?" he'll probably give them my name, and it'll just keep going around. So basically, just take care of your local folks, and don't be afraid to do the little jobs like lawnmower decks, lawnmower frames, small brackets like that, truck frames, stuff like that. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you like it, hit a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.